Good morning. We're off to a flying start this morning. It's Monday 22nd, and here's our breakdown. As US COVID deaths near the 500,000 mark this morning finds index futures bleak this after Friday's closing. The Dow at 0%, the S&P down 0.2%, but the Russell gaining over 2%. A look at the Nasdaq reveals that we're in a bearish channel with last week's trading well below the pivot's R1. It even hit R2 briefly Wednesday, and the fact that there aren't any major earnings report this week could be problematic unless Euro optimism pushes it all up. Data on Friday was not terrible, existing home sales rising a tad more than expected, and the services PMI surprising to the upside with a 6-tick improvement to 58.9. Manufacturing retreated somewhat to 58.5 from 59.2 in January, while in Canada, December retail sales contracted by 3.4% month-on-month after 1.8% growth the month before. European indices closed off the week with tepid rises, 0.8% for the DAX, 0.1% for the FTSE. Currencies are slightly up following excellent PMIs on Friday. Manufacturing continuing to expand across the zone in England, but services down a tad. Consumer inflation in Italy increased to 0.7%, and Spain's trade deficit increased to $1.07 billion. At 9 GMT, we'll be getting German business expectations for February and the Bundesbank's monthly report at 11. We should be looking ahead this week to the Northern Ireland situation as pro-Brit parties legally attacked the Brexit deal a bit late in the game, but just as potentially harsh. UK companies have stopped deliveries due to Brexit's decision to align Northern Irish markets with the EU so as to maintain the Good Friday Accords. Asian markets plummeted this morning after China decided to maintain its 3.85% interest rate level, injecting 10 billion won in reverse repos to the economy. We're seeing China's A50 down nearly 4% and contagion costing the Hang Seng another 0.8%. Indices are down in Australia and New Zealand too, but the Nikkei added nearly 0.5% overnight. China's foreign minister this morning urged the US to stop interfering in Hong Kong, Tibet, Taiwan, and the Uyghur region. Bitcoin this morning is trying to renew its upward momentum after peaking last night at 58.96K. At the moment, the token's year-to-date rise is over 98%. Coinbase today revealed that over half of U.S. retail traders either own Bitcoin or plan to invest this year. The news comes as CI Global Files issues Canada's third Bitcoin ETF, and Purpose Investments has climbed to nearly $422 since its introduction on Thursday. Oil bottomed out over the weekend as Reuters reports a drop in U.S. production despite rising prices. This after OPEC cut its 2021 demand forecast by about 140,000 barrels per day. Witness the Baker Hughes report from Friday that puts the number of active drills down to 1. It's down to 305 this past week. And gold crossed above its moving average decisively Friday after a week-long slide, double bottoming at 1776. Prices are now edging above the 1790 mark and volumes continue high. The corporate world is full of gusto this morning after John Deere on Friday surprised to the upside with $8 billion in revenues, but Campari hit the rocks with a £20 million miss. Today, expect news from Berkshire Hathaway and Groupon. On Thursday, we'll be hearing from embattled HSBC, caught between East and West, as it cuts 35 jobs in the US and Europe, while expanding in China, where it's been aiding police in Hong Kong crackdowns. Facebook is facing more fire this time in Canada, which has been watching the Aussie blackout with interest. One lawmaker down under this morning said the nation has no intention of buckling under the Zuck's pressure. Canadian Minister Stephen Gilbert condemned Facebook's Australian blackout and said he'd make sure the company pays for Canadian news. Focus is on Boeing again as Korean Air ground 6 777s after an aircraft shed its engine over Denver last week. The FAA has ordered an inspection, but if previous action is to judge, well, we'll see. And Disney is going to start streaming The Muppets more than a decade after buying the rights from Henson Enterprises, but there will be scenes missing, some reportedly due to musical rights, but others due to what they call offensive content. Like I said, a flying start. Have a great week.